Ask me something about credit. That's what people came here to see. How many credit cards do you think I have?
3.
No. Go up.
Let's go 8.
More. I have 29 credit cards. At a young age, I realized in order to make money, you have to know how money moves. As an entrepreneur, you have to be comfortable investing not only in yourself, but investing in others. And you invest in yourself by picking up a book, studying, going on YouTube. There's knowledge everywhere.
For you guys who are new to my YouTube channel, my name is Bakari Kamal. I'm a digital storyteller and I'm a director of my own video production company. And I'm here to talk to Jeremie Lander. Jeremie Lander is an entrepreneur, very young, 20 years old, serial entrepreneur, all things finance, all things credit. I met him at a conference. As you can see, he's always dressed to impress. And he's really inspiring to me. So I wanted to bring him to the YouTube channel and to the platform so he can tell us a little bit about how he got here. So Jeremie, welcome to the party, man.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, that's what's up, man. Can you tell me, who is Jeremie Lander?
Man, I'm a young entrepreneur and investor straight out of Maryville High School. Did not go to school for anything I learned. And I try to present myself as an inspiration to not only my peers, but anyone I come across, because I feel like a lot of the information that I have is not presented out to the public. So I want to kind of be like that role model to kind of not gatekeep information and let everybody know how I got to this point so more people can follow in my footsteps.
Man, that's inspiring. You know, you're 20 years old, you're an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur already. Can you just talk to me about how did you walk into this entrepreneurship journey?
So my grandfather, he taught me the trades ever since I was able to walk and talk. So ever since I was 3, 4, 5 years old, I've been swinging a hammer, hitting down nails, stuff like that. And my high school, freshman year of high school, I worked a 9 to 5. It was a coffee shop in the mall. Quit like 2 months later. I was getting paid minimum wage. I didn't like it. Spoke to my mom and she said I have all these skills, and she actually introduced me to entrepreneurship. So I started my first business when I was about 14, cutting grass, doing things like that. That business failed because I didn't save money. I didn't understand how to run a business. And due to financial struggles, my parents weren't able to help me essentially. So when the expenses became more than I was bringing in, I had to close that business. So then I spoke to my best friend's dad. I remember this day like it was yesterday. We were finna go to the beach, go talk to some girls, and he stopped us. He was like, you guys can go to the beach, or I can basically teach you how to be a man. And he runs a business. So he kind of put us on game on like how to get credit, funding for your business, how to actually run a business. And he taught us how to start our credit before the age of 18. And that's the day where it pretty much changed my life. That's, I want to say, a month prior to me starting my construction business that I still run today. And he taught me basically the stepping stones on how to start and run a business effectively. And I took that information, I just ran with it.
Wow, it's really full circle, right? That somebody volunteered some information to you to help you get where you are. And now you're volunteering information to other people to help them go to the next level.
Exactly.
Right, so, you know, that's really inspiring. And then you talk a little bit about your parents, right?
Yeah.
And just their support, right? And their encouragement. Talk to me about, why is it important to have either family members, parents, or somebody else that will be there to support you during this journey at a young age?
So just entrepreneurship, that journey?
Yes, sir.
Because there's a lot of ups and downs. You know, my first year of business outside of high school, I actually made the same amount as my mother, and she's a teacher. And I wouldn't be able to do that without her, because it wasn't just 1 month I made all this money or it was consistent amount of money throughout the month. There was months where I was in the negatives and I wanted to quit. But with her support, she helped me. She put a roof over my head. She still fed me. She didn't look at me any different just because I was failing. And when I used to get in my head a lot saying, oh, this business is gonna fail. I haven't made money in 2 months. What's gonna happen? She stood there and said, no, things are gonna, turn around. You just have to be patient and consistent. So with that support, I wouldn't be in this position because, being an entrepreneur, being an investor, it's not a consistent paycheck. I don't get paid every week, every 2 weeks. It could be 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It could be a day, or it could be a couple months. So without that support and that love from my mother, my grandparents, little brother, my family, and my best friends, I wouldn't be nowhere near this position because I'd probably be in my own head, in my own feelings, and I would have quit.
Yeah. Now, you went into finance, right? And you talk a lot about credit, but I know you started off, I saw some things where you were doing construction. How did you go from doing construction, doing grass, all these things, to going into the area of finance specifically?
So I was always interested in just how money flowed in our economy because at a young age, I realized in order to make money, you have to know how money moves. So I always kind of like my grandfather, he taught me a little bit about the stock market, how to save money, high interest savings accounts, things like that. And I was always interested in it. Throughout my journey being an entrepreneur with my construction business, I met a lot of people that were interested in giving me knowledge. So for example, my tax accountant, financial advisor, and a few business partners that I have currently that we work on investments together. So with them feeding me all this knowledge on how to get funding for my construction business so I can grow, I kind of learned how to scale up my business with that knowledge. And from there, I spoke to other entrepreneurs and they kind of were struggling with their finances. So when I kind of told them the solution to their problem, they were just like, oh man, wow, how do you have this knowledge? That's when I realized how rare this knowledge was. And then from there, that's how I knew like, oh, that's how I can give back. So I always wanted to give back. But now I know I can give back by giving this knowledge that a lot of people fed into me by feeding it to others.
Mm. I'm still trying to get to how, at 20 years old, you're here, presenting like this in business like this. What would you say would be the main reason you believe that you can be sitting here the way you are today?
So for one is my upbringing. So I only had my mother in my life. My father, I was actually a trap baby. He was a horrible man, beat my mother, so my mom left him. So having a single mother, two kids, not much money in the house. So that kind of pushed me to be that man for my household and to help provide for my family. So that kind of gave me the strength and the motivation, the discipline to be able to go through those hardships, to be able to help provide for my family. That mixed with credit, that's what helped took me to that next level a lot quicker than most because I didn't have to wait to save money. I didn't have to get a 9 to 5 and save up for 6 months to be able to invest in myself. I was able to go to the bank and finance my dreams and turn that into goals and turn those goals into a reality. So I feel like that's what kind of like basically put me on the fast track to get my success and where I'm at today.
Now, what recommendations would you give to peers your age? Maybe they're in a household where they don't have that discipline, right? And maybe they don't have the knowledge to understand credit. What would you say to that aspiring entrepreneur that's 20 years old right now?
Study. Outside of high school, I told myself I'm gonna have one gap year between high school and me thinking about going to college, and all I did was study. Pick up a book, and if you don't know something as an entrepreneur, hire someone who can do it for you. I'm not good with technology, so I hire people to build my website, put out all my information, things of that nature. So as an entrepreneur, you have to be comfortable investing not only in yourself, but investing in others. And you invest in yourself by picking up a book, studying, going on YouTube. There's knowledge everywhere. You can pick up your smartphone and learn whatever you want in just an hour. And if you aren't that person to learn something, like I'm not a creative person, so I hire creative people to kind of bring that to the table so I don't have to stress about putting in extra effort and time wasted to learn something when I can just invest in someone else and help them grow their self, their business, whatever they may be, while also helping my pockets and helping me grow my business.
That's excellent. Now, you used to run track based on my research.
Yes.
Can you talk to me a little bit about your track journey, and did anything you learned during your time in track help you as an entrepreneur?
Most definitely. My coach, Michael Hoffman, he was like a father figure to me. He helped me channel my emotions and use them the proper way. With all the things I had going on at home, I was kind of like, not bipolar, but it was hard for me to get a grasp of my emotions. But he taught me how to focus my emotion on one singular thing and use it as kind of like an outlet. And that's what I did with track and cross country. I was top in the state for that, broke records in my school for middle and long distance. And it was thanks to my coach. And I kind of transferred that discipline from running into my work life. And that kind of helped me like with, long days of being an entrepreneur, I don't work 4 6 hour days. I work at minimum 10 to 12 hour days, some days 14. That same discipline I had in track, I go out and run 10 miles. That same discipline is still in me where I can say, okay, I'm gonna go out and work 14 hours and it won't affect me. I fast for mental, spiritual, and physical discipline. I did that for track. Now I still do that at work to kind of keep my head on straight, make sure, I'm good spiritually, mentally, physically. That same discipline I got from track and from my coach that I still instill into myself in this day.
That's excellent work. That's excellent work. Um, I just want to know about the confidence,
Mhm.
right? Most people have imposter syndrome that they struggle with. Have you ever had imposter syndrome that you struggled with, and how did you develop this confidence that you have?
Yeah, most definitely, and I'm still going through it right now. And it's not in the sense of like why me, like why is it bad? It's kind of the opposite. I don't mean to brag. I try myself, but try my hardest to stay humble. But there's a lot of good things going on in my life, and sometimes I sit down and I say, why am I deserving of this? So that's kind of like my imposter syndrome. It's just why me out of everybody else? Because I do see people who are struggling and I help them, but it's only so much I can do as a person. So that imposter syndrome does get to me, but I just have to remember that, for one, have trust in God. Two, there's a reason why all these good things are happening to me. Is because God trusts me that I'm gonna be able to help others and bring others the same path that He's leading me down. So it's just me continuing to be a leader and stay strong even in the hard times, just so I can help others that are going through hard times, just so they can see better days.
That's excellent. And as we get ready to really conclude, we concluding faster than I thought, but
Yeah,
man, you're giving some excellent just insight, right?
I appreciate it. Ask
So
me something about credit. That's what people came here to see.
yeah, let's talk about credit. So you are an expert when it comes to credit. What's some of the myths people have about credit that you would like to debunk today?
Ooh, I love that question. This is my favorite one. How many credit cards you should have? How many credit cards do you think I have?
3.
No. Go up.
Let's go 8,
More.
12.
More. I have
You
29 credit cards.
Wow.
And a lot of people think having so many credit cards is bad. And people ask me all the time, how do you use all those credit cards? I don't. I use probably 5 on a rotation to save me, points. I get points for gas, travel, all that. But the other ones are in my filing cabinet. And the reason why I have so many credit cards is, for one, my utilization. The 1/3 rule. You can't use over 30% of your total limit on credit cards, or else it's going to hurt your credit, because the banks only give money to people who don't need it. So if you're using a whole bunch of credit, they're not going to trust you with new credit because you already owe so many other people money. So what's higher or what's better for you, using 30% of $1,000 or using 30% of $100,000? With me having all these credit cards, I have high limits on them. I can use a whole bunch of credit without it hitting 30% because I got so many credit cards. And another thing is your age. So with me having so many credit cards, my average age is like a brick wall, because when I get a new credit card, that 0 years, it won't really drop down my average age because I have so many other credit cards with 2 years on them. Versus if I have one credit card with 10 years, I get a new credit card with 0, it's going to average out in half to 5 years, which is going to lower my credit score dramatically.
Wow. Okay, that's excellent. So when it comes to a aspiring entrepreneur or a current entrepreneur getting their first credit card, how do they go about that process?
Business or personal?
That's a great question. Let's say they don't have a personal credit card and they want to get them a business credit card for their business. How would they go about that?
You can't. Nowadays, everyone looks for a personal guarantor. And that's another myth. A lot of people think, oh, yeah, I want to get a car with no personal guarantee. No, there's really no loan you can get without a personal guarantor now. So without any personal credit, it's very difficult to get business credit. If you have an auto loan, you have a mortgage, other forms of credit outside of credit cards, you have a higher chance of getting it if you didn't. But like for someone that's 18, 19 years old with no auto loan, one credit card, it's very, very difficult to get business credit, because they're going to look at your personal side and say, hey, your business is new, you need funding. So if your business can't pay us debt, then you have to pay it. So if you don't have any history to show that you can pay off the debt, they're not going to approve you for anything. So my advice for any new or current entrepreneurs looking to get funding for their business is to, for one, get a 700 credit score. And you do this by using credit. People are afraid to use their credit. Exercise your credit the same way you go to the gym and work out, the same way you read the Bible to, up your faith, whatever you do. Same thing. Exercise and use your credit. Don't be afraid of it. As long as you pay back borrowed funds, which is the definition of credit, you're going to build your credit, and then that's going to lead you to the door of business credit.
Excellent, excellent. So let's say someone has a credit score, they work on it, they get it to 700, they got their credit on the personal side. Now they're ready to jump into business credit. How do they go from 0 to 29 business credit cards? How do they go about that process?
Apply. People are afraid to apply. Do not be afraid. Once you get about a 700 credit score, you have about, I'd say, at least 3 or 4 credit cards that you use on a daily. I mean, I only use my credit cards. I only use my debit card to pay off my credit cards. So once you kind of instill that discipline of using credit, paying it off, using it, getting that history, just apply for a business side. The same way you do on the personal side. Just apply for the business end. And when they ask for your gross revenue, bump it up a little bit. That's a little secret. It says gross revenue. As an entrepreneur, you don't know how much you're going to make. There's no salary. So when they ask you, oh, how much is your business seated to make? If you're seated to make 20, say 40. If you're seated to make 40, say 80. Raise it up a little bit because you don't know how much you're going to make. But just apply for the business credit cards. And if you want to get into like big loans for your, company, you have to be at least 2 years incorporated or have an LLC in good standing for 2 years before you can get a business line of credit of $50,000, high limit credit cards, things like that. But if you're just starting out and you're under 2 years, just apply every 30 days for a new business credit card. Go through Amex, Chase, Wells Fargo, First Financial, KeyBank. Just go to a bank every single month and get approved and keep doing that every 30 days or so.
Excellent, excellent. So let's say, okay, we got business credit cards, right? But let's say we want to explore other options of funding. What does it look like to do grants or get a business loan? Talk to us about what are some of the other options and what your preferences are for a new business owner.
So I don't know much about grants, but I do have a grant writer working for my company. And I just know grants that it's money you don't have to pay back for anyone that doesn't know, as long as you use them like how you said you were. So with a grant, you have to kind of have like an application. You let them know how you're going to allocate the funds to your business. So for you to not pay the money back, you have to get the money and use it exactly how you told them they're going to use it. That's as much as I know about grants personally. Going to business funding. My favorite type of business funding is a business line of credit. A lot of people don't know about it. A business line of credit is one of the only loans or forms of credit you can get that's just liquid cash. So for example, an auto loan, you can only buy a car with it. A mortgage, you can only get a property with it. Business line of credit, you can wire however much that amount into your bank account or pull it out in cash. So if I need $20,000 for equipment, an investment, paying contractors, whatever I want, I can buy a car with a business line of credit. I just go to the bank and say, hey, I need to make a withdrawal of $50,000 from this business line of credit, and you pay it back like a credit, but you have cash. And another plus is whatever term it is, most business lines of credit is like 5 or 6 years. You can make interest-only payments until the end of the business line of credit term, which is 5 years. Then it goes into a term loan where you pay it back similar to like an installment, like an auto loan or a mortgage until you pay it off. But the first 5 years, you can only pay interest, which saves you a lot of money. So if your interest rate is at 10% and you take out $50,000, you can pay $500 a month to keep the credit in good standing. But for $500 a month, I have $50,000 liquid that I can invest in whatever I want.
Okay, that's excellent. Man, you dropping some gems, man. We not gonna give him everything, man, because he dropping real knowledge. Tell us what type of services and things do you offer in your business? Tell us more about your business so people can know what you do.
Yeah, so my financial literacy program is Better Finance Today. You can find me on my website at betterfinancetoday.net. And we help with financial literacy. So we have courses on personal credit, soon to drop some business credit courses. We have digital products like ebooks, 2 of them that I wrote, PDF guides on how to start a business, how to get a shelf corporation, things of that nature. And we also do services like credit repair, grant writing, and business funding, where we help teach entrepreneurs how to get the funding, help them if they need credit repair, if they need to know how to invest it, what to do exactly. We help coach them to not only get the funding, but how to use it properly as well.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And last question before we wrap up. What does digital storytelling look like for you? So how do you show up in the digital space on social media and tell your story to help build your business and your brand?
So right now, everything I do is pretty much word of mouth. I'm not very tech savvy. I kind of put out a little bit of videos out there. I want to say the ending of last year, 2023, in about November range. But now I plan in the summer to start, of course, telling my story, similar to this podcast, but of course more in detail. But, there's a certain kind of persona that I learned that you have to be on social media with. So I'm making some investments to be a little bit more flashy because I'm kind of conservative. I don't like to spend money like that, but I am making some investments so I can get people's attention right away. So when they, see me on TikTok, see me on Instagram, they can have something eye-catching and then hear me tell my story. And I'm gonna try my best to stay professional as possible. When I see people on social media, a lot of times they either give them a portion of the pie, they don't tell you like full circle on how to do things. They tell you something illegal that either they don't know about or they just want a quick, double tap on the screen. So they tell you that way. Or it's not humble, they're braggy. I still want to present myself as the young businessman that I am. I'm still going to pull up in suits. You know, I might be in a, you know, a $80,000 car, but regardless, I'm going to be in a suit that's almost as valuable as that car to show people, you know, there's other ways to make money other than scamming, rapping, you know, fast money, whatever they think of. You can be a businessman and still be just as successful as, you know, the rappers you see with the whole bunch of chains, the 100K watch. There's still other ways to make money.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Jeremy, it's been a pleasure. This has been a great time. We're gonna have to definitely do this again.
Most definitely.
And let people know where they can find you on social media or on your website.
You can find me on my socials, all platforms at Better Finance Today. My Facebook is Jeremie Lander, JeremieLander, and my website is betterfinancetoday.net.
That's a wrap, folks. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you, man.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.